Hello, this is Peter Newman. I'm a member on the Answer student community, and there's a question on how to cut these lattice work on the bottom of this tower in DesignModeler, and this is DesignModeler 18.1, and the existing solid body is ready, and there was some other construction geometry used to create that, which is in the X-plane, but I'm going to look at the XY plane and create a new plane, and I'm going to rotate that plane with the transform button, and I'm going to rotate it about the y-axis by 10 degrees. So I can see how far away 10 degrees is, and just to make it really simple, I'll split the body so as to get some edges. So I'm going to slice with the plane I just created all bodies. So there's one slice, and then the XY plane, I'll slice that also and generate that second slice. So now I know what 10 degrees looks like at the boundary, and I'm going to make it a small cut to make this triangle through the base, and then another cut to make the triangle here, and those cuts will be by extruding a triangle from the center and then doing a subtraction. So the triangles on the bottom are cut 5 degrees away from the triangles at the top, and they're at 10-degree increments. So it'll be handy to also know where the 5-degree point is, and so I'll make one more plane that's off the XY plane, create a new plane that is rotated by 5 degrees, rotate about y 5, generate that, and that plane can be for the triangle that cuts the top. So for sketching, you have to sketch on the XY plane, and so we need to actually rotate this plane 6 about the x-axis by 90 degrees. So the XY plane is actually rotated about the y-axis, so the XY plane is going to point up to the center of this 10-degree span. So let me right mouse button and edit and say the second transform is to rotate about y 90 degrees. So now I can sketch on that plane and extrude something up to this face. So I'll generate that, and on that plane 6 I'm going to sketch, and I can look at, with this look at button, look at that sketch, and I can zoom in and I can draw a triangle, and that's as simple as drawing a few lines, and we want the triangle to break through, because it's bad to have either we want it to break through or to not break through. We don't want it partially breaking through. So I'm going to sketch it outside by a little bit and just come up at some angle, which you can decide what that angle is, and then I'll do another, I'll go from, make sure it says P and not C. P is the point and C is on the axis, and then let me actually make it too long. I'll draw another line from here, but I want to make sure it's horizontal, so the H means it'll be horizontal, and then I can use, under modify, I can use the trim to trim these corners off. And finally we want symmetry, so there are constraints, and one of them is called symmetry. Read the text, select line for axis of symmetry, well that's this line here, and now select the first point or edge, that's this one, and then the second point or edge, that's that one, and now the triangle is symmetric. Under modify, you can grab a point and drag it. You can use the drag function. You can grab this and drag it up or down. So we're going to just use our eyeballs. You could also dimension an angle if you wanted with dimensions, and then that will lock the angle in. We can drag this point up just a little bit if we were still on drag, sorry. So I made a small angle. I should probably delete that, but we're good to extrude that, and we will do the extrusion of the sketch, and we're going to extrude it, add frozen. We don't want to add it to this existing tower. We want to add it separately, and if we take a look at it, we will extrude it. I forget how large the 50. There we go. We have to extrude it through the end, and that's done. So if we make a pattern of these, we can then cut them. So we generate this first solid, and now we say that we want to create a pattern. We want to choose this solid body, and we want a circular pattern around the axis, that let's see, the y-axis. So that's the zy plane is the y-axis, and evenly spaced, and we want 35 copies. Generate, and now we can subtract with the boolean, create boolean, subtract. The tool bodies is select all, yep, and then hold the control key and unselect the pieces. Actually what I'll do is I'll suppress the cuts that I made to find the 10 degree. So let me delete this because it won't let me do operations if you've got a pending regeneration. So I can take the two slices and suppress them. Now there's just one body, and so when I create the boolean and I do Control A to select all bodies and Control to unselect the one and apply, there's 36 bodies, and then the target is this one body, and generate. So now we have the first set of slices, and the second one is to draw on one of the other planes this triangle through the bottom. So the good plane to sketch on, XY is a good plane because that will extrude in the Z direction, and we can cut on that. So let's make a sketch. Let's look at the XY plane and zoom in on this triangle and just draw another 3 lines the same way we did. So grab a line and put it on the center line. You want to see that C, and we want it to start maybe up here. I want it to go beyond a little bit. We want it horizontal, and we want it horizontal is good, and then we want it to P to P. Look for that P, don't get a C, get a P. Click, and then we want to go to constraints and add symmetry about this line, first object, second object, and that makes it symmetric. If we typed in the angle before, we could type in the same angle and make sure these lines are parallel. Right now they look parallel, but they're not exactly parallel. But they're good enough to extrude, so we will go to the extrude button, and we know 70 is good, but we want to add frozen, and we will generate, and let's see, did we get our piece? Something went wrong. Sketch 2. Let me go and look at that. I don't know what the merge topology button does, but let me see if that makes a difference. Let me delete that. Extrusion. And edit this sketch. I think all the points are connected. You can check by using drag and dragging this line. Aha, we're not connected, so that's why it's complaining. So if I trim by using the trim command, I can trim this off. And if we zoom in, let's see if it drags properly now. So now it should extrude just fine. So that illustrates the importance of making sure you click on when you see P and not C. I must have clicked when it said C and not P, so that's why the ends weren't connected and it couldn't extrude. But now this sketch should extrude, so I'll hit the extrude button and say add frozen, because I don't want to add unite it. I could say cut, but I want a pattern, so I just want to add frozen and generate. There's my solid. Let's just zoom out and make a pattern of that. Where's the zoom out button? There we go, zoom to fit. So another pattern. Select the geometry, a solid body is, the filter is selected, it's this body, apply the axis, it's this axis, apply, and generate. Then the boolean, create, boolean, select all and control click out the tower for the tool bodies, and the tower is the target body, and generate. And there we have our lattice of parts of legs. And you can edit a sketch and watch with a quick generate these gaps changing around a little bit. But that's a good place to stop the video. Hope this is helpful. Bye.